Good evening, and it's Monday night. I'm back in the shed. I've had a busy day, so I haven't got a great deal of time. So I'm going to make this as brief as possible. Apologies if I don't waffle as much. Tonight's job is going to be fixing the hole in the frame head front, right hand side bottom. It's not much of a hole. It's only sort of probably there's one maybe 2 inches long, 2 inches. Maybe, and then there's another one probably an inch, and maybe there's a little bit in between as well. I've already hammered it with rust proofer, but I'm going to grind all the metal back again, give me some nice fresh clean steel to work to, and go from there. I've realised I'm cutting off my head off. So yeah, with no further ado, we'll crack on. I'll stick a picture of the hole sort of here in a minute, right there, big as the screen, and we'll go from there. So let's get on with it. So these are the holes, or holes I suppose, that we're going to be tackling. As I said, they're not, you can see my finger sort of, if I use my finger for scale, you're talking, you know, a couple of finger widths there. They're not massive, but obviously, lights got off, apologies. Oh, cheap torch. Okay. Come on, torch. No. No, torch is broken. Never mind. We'll manage without. There you go. As we can say, they're not massive holes. The surrounding metal is pretty solid, but as you can see, it's where the beam bolts on. The actual, it should be that way. That's looking at it sort of face on, as you would if the car was level. So they do need to be sorted out. You know, there's no getting away from that. I can't leave them like that, but I need to be wary that I can't change the shape of them, because obviously this is right where the beam sits, so it does need to be done. I've got some sheets of steel, and what I'm going to do is sort of make sure this is all sort of cleaned up at the back and the front and flat, not flat but curved, you know, smooth, clean steel. Cut a plate out that will overlap the back, and the same for this one. And then what I'll do, weld them from the back and try and fill the gap in at the front really slowly with little beads of weld. That's the sort of way I'm going to do it. I'm not 100% whether that's the right way, but at the moment it's the only way I can sort of figure it out without having to sort of make this complex little shape there. If I could just get the light on, there you go. You can sort of see the, I'll just go around, you can see the sort of profile I've got to work with. It's sort of, that bit there has almost got two angles to it, so that's how I'm going to proceed. So let's just crack on with it. So this is the these are the holes that I'm dealing with. I've sort of overly intentionally, not unintentionally, enlarged them, but they've sort of enlarged. I've had a bit, to be honest, the tricky bit at the moment is sort of trying to remove all this old floor pan base plate. Frame head base plate, majority of which is still on. I didn't really want to fit it, the new base plate. Obviously, I couldn't fit it until I'd fixed these two holes. My other reasoning being I didn't want to fit it until I knew that I could repair those two holes. It didn't make any sense at all to try and sort of patch them when I've only got access to one side of it. So that's where we're at so far. I imagine there's plenty more grinding and cutting in my future. So I've cut back the holes. They've sort of enlarged. I kind of figured that would happen. Same with this one. There's a tiny little bit of solid steel left in between the two, which I'm going to leave there because it holds the profile. I've cleaned it up pretty well as best I can at the moment. I'm going to have another go at it in a minute, just to sort of clean this pitted metal up. But what I think I'm going to do is start to sort of remove some more back here. some more paint or some more rust. I'm going to paint this with rust cure. Then I'm going to then wait for that to dry, then cut it back again, and then while that's drying, I'll make up the plates and see how we get on. This has been the hardest bit, cleaning up this edge where the old manky frame head's been sat. So yeah, progress has been made, but it is slow, laborious. So I've cleaned up the metal a bit. I haven't given up cleaning up yet. I'm not done with it, but it's quite solid in there. I mean, it obviously thins out red near the edges, but I'm gonna go push the weld right back to here and fill the gaps in. So I just need to cut a piece. I've tried using the old rubby finger in the hole with some cardboard trick, but it's such an odd shape. I think the best way is for me to sort of cut a small cube or a small slither of steel, lay it out, and then mark it from the front and sort of cut out the bits I need until I've got this shape, and then try and shape it myself. Okay, so this is what I've sort of got at the moment. This is the patch that I've made that sits sort of back of the frame head front. If you bear me 2 seconds, I'll go around the back. There you go. You can see the back. I've sort of hammered it and dollied it into submission. What I'm going to do now is obviously I've drawn my marker pen on the front of it where the holes are. I'm going to come back, take this off now, unclamp it, trim it down to a sort of more reasonable size now that I have a sort of template to cut round. Yeah, so there we go. We'll we'll trim it down and see where we go. Like I said, unfortunately, when it comes to this, I'm not after pretty. I'm after sort of strong and that's something that isn't going to disintegrate. So yeah, there's plenty more steel in here. It's only it's 2 small holes. That's not to say I'm being sort of blasé about it, but yeah, I'm after strong and not pretty. So yeah, let's crack on again. So there's my sort of there's my plate, sort of ready to be welded in. There's a tiny little pinhole at the bottom there which I'm going to fill. But yeah, like I said, the rest of the surrounding metal is really solid still. Otherwise, I'd be replacing the whole frame head. To be honest, if there was any more rust in there, the whole thing would be coming off. But like I said, it's pretty solid in there, so popping that little strip. So I'm confident this is going to be okay. If I fuck it up, excuse my French, I promised I wouldn't swear, but there I have. Then I'll just buy a new frame head and the whole thing will be replaced. But nil desperandum. So I'm going to clean up the surrounding metal a little bit and then crack on with the welding. There'll only be a few spots this evening and I'll come back to it another day. Okie dokie. So there you go. I've started to weld the patch in. I only managed to blow a hole in the thinner steel, one little point there, which is the first little bit I did. Overall, I'm pretty pleased. Like I said, I am no welder. I'm sort of learning as I go along. But there's no sort of massive gaps in it anywhere, apart from obviously this edge where I haven't welded down. It's all pretty solid. I got the sort of bacony fizzle that people seem to go on about. I will obviously clean it up and make sure that it's solid and right, and then I'll start filling in the front. But I think, to be honest, it's not too bad considering. It's definitely better than having a great big gaping hole. And obviously you won't see this bit's going to be hidden on the side, so as long as it's sort of strong, I'll be happy with it. So, yeah, there we are. I've got probably all but one side of the patch that I've just welded down there. I'll put some pictures up. Have been great, but unfortunately I literally was just about to do the last 2 inches of patch on the back when I ran out of welding gas. I've been using the little hobby bottles, which are, they're not cheap, they're not expensive. I think they're about 15 quid for the argon CO2 one from local motor factors. But they don't last a long time at all. Yeah, kind of pleased for tonight. Thanks for watching. If you've watched, keep watching. Subscribe. There's a button somewhere. I see other people there. There's a button there. Yeah, so subscribe. Keep watching. If you've got any advice for me, like I said before, I'm more than happy to accept it. Same with criticism. I might swear at your criticism. But yeah, thanks very much. Share, tell people. get stuck in. I've never restored a car before. This is the first one I'm doing. I'm learning as I'm going. But yeah, get stuck in. Don't be afraid. Give it a whirl.